Hi, I am Dimitri Mello. This is the Soccer Excellence Mentor channel on YouTube. Here we have content for soccer players, coaches, and aficionados. And in today's video, we're going to discuss how to extract the most performance, how to get results, possession results out of only 1 week of training. So you just started in a new team, it's mid-season, pre-season, it doesn't matter. In the first week, you want to extract the most performance out of your team as possible. How to do it, that's what we're going to discuss in this video. But first, before you plan your first week, you need to understand a few aspects about the game and the problems that the game is offering you so you can better plan your first week and better solve the most urgent problems of the game. So let's understand that first. So there are a few problems that the game is throwing at us, that the game is exposing to us, that we need to understand before we plan our first week. So we need to understand a little about the game. So what are these problems and how to solve them? The first problem that the game is throwing at us is the problem of the field. What problems regarding the field do we need to solve and understand so we can better plan our first week? The first problem regarding the field is the first third of the field. And of course, the second and the third problems will be the other thirds of the field. But what can you do and how to solve the first third and why is it that important? The first third is where you need to take the ball from your end line to the midfield. That's your goal in the first third of the field. And you need to do that maintaining possession under control, maintaining the opponents under your control, and getting to the midfield with advantage. Otherwise, none of this is useful and you're just probably be kicking the ball forward and losing possession. So you're not advancing on the field, you're just getting rid of the ball. That's not what you want. So a few tips here of how you can manage the first third. Circulation will be very important because bringing the ball from one side to the other using the maximum width of the field will give you more space so you can have more opportunities to move forward whenever possible and get out of the first third towards the second third. Support. Once you move from one side to the other, you gotta make sure you have numerical superiority in the zone of the ball. So you gotta drive some players to that zone to create a little rondo there, maintain possession better, so you can maybe exit from the other sides or progress from there by breaking the pressure. And another trait that you need in the first third is patience. If you don't have patience, if you don't teach your team how to use the keeper to their advantage, how to use this numerical advantage and have patience in that zone of the field, they are going to lose the ball, they're going to be desperate, they're going to show low confidence, and this is not going to help you in developing a good possession style. The second problem that the field offers us, as we said before, is the second third of the field. And again, here you can also use circulation, support, and patience. Those are very welcome here. Again, you don't want to lose possession. It's very similar to the first third, except that the keeper is a little far away, but you can bring him or her closer to the play in the second third. But mostly you want to attack as a block and you want to emphasize that because when you get to the third third, you don't want to rush. You want to bring your entire team there because in case you lose the ball, you're all close to each other to recover it as fast as possible. In the second third, your goal is to bring the ball from the midfield to the opponent's final third. Last problem that the field offers us is the third third of the field. And here again, you can use circulation, support, but now instead of patience, of course you want patience, but mostly you want penetration. You want your players to be a little more aggressive, to be a little more daring, to be a little more challenging to the opponents and face more difficult and short space situations. And that's why you want to come here to the third third as a block. Your goal in the third third, of course, is to generate shooting opportunities and score the ball into the opponent's goal. So these are the three problems regarding the fields that we need to have in mind before we plan our first week. Now, the next problem that the game throws at us that we need to understand is the problem regarding the ball. And what problems the ball is throwing at us, let's understand that. So the first problem that the ball is throwing at us is maintain possession on its own. So don't lose the ball, gain confidence, and establish the pace of the game. This is what possession is for. So if you're not using the ball in your team, if you're not maintaining possession with the goal of not losing the ball, and this is very, very important because I've seen many coaches throughout an entire season never correct a player when that player is losing the ball over and over again in a very similar situation. I've seen many coaches never stop to correct that player and teach that player how to not lose the ball. This is one of the most important things that you want to do in your first week with every player in your team. You want to teach them the most you can teach them about how not to lose possession. And that is not only an individual responsibility, but also a collective responsibility that you need to show them. Through not losing the ball and maintaining possession over and over again, they gain confidence and they establish the pace of the game, because now the game will run on your team's pace as your team decides and your team wishes. The second problem that the ball offers us is maintaining possession and moving forward. If you don't move forward as you maintain possession, you're going to have problems, because it is almost impossible to maintain possession in the same zone without getting out of there, because you need to seize the advantage to move forward, the free spaces to get out of that situation. Otherwise, the opponents can simply press over and over and over again in that same zone. So we need to move forward or move away from the zone of pressure. If you cannot advance, you will eventually succumb. It's just very important to understand. The third problem that the ball throws at us is to maintain possession and generate shooting opportunities. If you're not a threat, you're not in command. So if you have the ball, but the opponent is quite safe that you're not getting to their goal, you're not shooting, their keeper is just watching the game, they might get comfortable and might start a counter-attack strategy that will be quite useful in your team, because your team is not generating shooting opportunities, and they might be. So what you want with possession is to have it, to move forward, and to generate shooting opportunities. Okay. Now, the third problem that we need to understand about the game is the problem regarding the opponents. So what problems the opponents are throwing at us as the game suggests? Let's start with that. Keep the opponents far away from the ball. It's the first thing that the opponents are throwing at you, is a problem that if they are close to the ball, you are rushing your plays, you are playing in short spaces, you are always fighting against time and space, and that's not what you want if you want to command the game. If you want to command the game, you want to make sure your team knows how to maintain possession in a tranquil way, in an easy way, where the opponent is always maintained away from possession, so you guys can build your attacking plan as you wish. The second problem that the opponent throws at us is that we need to push the opponent backwards. If we don't push the opponent backwards, which is very similar to moving forwards, we are stuck in the same zone. The opponent is not giving up or giving in any space towards our team, because our team managed to conquer it. So it means that we're not conquering any space, we're not forcing the opponent backwards, we're just maintaining possession, but nothing is happening with the opponent. And it's very important to have that in mind, because everything that happens in the game needs to be measured by what happens to the opponent. So if you're doing something but nothing is happening to the opponent, you're not doing anything. That's very important to understand. The third thing that the opponent teaches us is that we need to command the opponents and do not let the opponents command us. Because if we let them command us, now the game has completely changed. Now our entire training needs to be readapted, because now we have another mindset, another strategy. It's another game entirely. So if you're training possession, you always want to command the game and do not let the opponents command you. And for this, your pressure needs to be very, very high, not only in the game, but also in training sessions. Okay, so those are the three problems that we need to solve before we plan our first week. So let's get into planning our first week. So now that we understand all the problems that the game is throwing at us, we can better plan our first week. So what is the most important thing for us to develop in our team in the first week? Obviously, the most important thing for us to develop is the ability to maintain possession. Every skill that is related to possession, you should be working on it. Of course, you should be defining which ones are more important to you and to your team and training them more than the others, but train the most skills about possession as possible, because you want to be able to maintain possession. You want to be able to generate micro rondos in the field. You want to be able to escape the zone of pressure. This is very important in possession. You want to be able to circulate well. You want to be able to move forward as a block. etc. So invest a lot of time in all possession skills that you can invest on in the first week, and do it right, and take your time to develop the most important ones for you first. I advise you, while you do that, and this is the topic number 2, to work in different possession exercises. Okay, so possession exercises to solve the first third, the second third, finishing, third man, rondos, just to maintain the ball, etc. But in all of these exercises, focus and give emphasis to one major topic before any other, which is do not lose the ball. Your players cannot lose the ball. You need to reduce the amount of times your players lose the ball in the first week to almost 0. Okay? So even if you don't score in the first game, or even if you lose in the first game, if you are trying to develop a possession style, you want to make sure that in the first game you've advanced the most you can into maintaining possession. Okay? So invest on that, and I'm going to show you the results after we finish in this here. The third topic here is first third expertise. So after you develop the most possession skills that you can, and you invest lots of times in teaching your players how not to lose the ball, you want to make sure that in the first week your team is almost an expert in the first third of the field and manages not to lose the ball there often. So manages to use the keeper with confidence and patience, and manage to keep possession in the first thirds as they want, and always or almost every time break the opponent's pressure and advance to the second third with safety and with the ball under control. If you cannot achieve that in the first week, again, your team will doubt you a little more. This will take more time for you to develop in the future. The more you develop possession skills in the first week, more confidence you will get from your players into going further in this style of play. Okay, so first third is very important, and you're going to find out that when you develop first third expertise, automatically your team will improve their second third expertise. They will gain knowledge on the second third. They will not be experts because it's not exactly the same, but there are many similarities between the first third and the second third. And if in the end of the first week you develop a good first third dynamic, you will see that your team in the second third will manage the ball well and will keep possession well. Maybe they won't go forward all the time and achieve this third all the time, but they will not lose possession as they were losing before you arrived. The final topic that we need to train in our first week and invest time in our first week is that in the game, we need to correct what we emphasize during the week. So you cannot get to the game and try to correct lots of stuff that you didn't talk about in the week, or try to make them cross in a specific way, or etc, etc, etc. You want to, in the game, focus in every single aspect that you just focus in the first week. So the game will be a big exercise of 90 minutes where you're trying to correct the same things you corrected in the first week, so you can develop this style even better after the first game. So they have great information and experience in the first game, so you can bring it to the second week of training. Okay, so after we understand all the problems that we need to understand about the game, and we know how to plan our first week, we need to see results. So let's see results. So this is the match after my first week of training in this yellow team. So we're going to analyze what I could achieve after just 1 week of training, 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and what results I could get in the match. So as you can see in the first play here, we start in our own box, so the first third. We make a wall pass, a 2v1, and get into the middle to go to the other side and use full width of the field to solve the first third of the field. So we see it right here, then we lose possession, and we are somewhat ready to recover that ball, and that's what we do. And as we recover, they enter in maintain possession mode. You can see very clearly here that they do not try to go forwards. They use the width of the game again, move the ball from the left to the right. Too many people now on the right, move the ball back to the left. So circulation needs to be very well developed in the first week. This will help you a lot to maintain possession in these circumstances. As you can see here, again, moving again to the right from the left, and again from the right to the left again. Now into the middle. You need to understand that when you use circulation, spaces in the middle will be generated, so you need to know when to be in the middle and when to use circulation to generate the spaces you need and you want. This second play, we started pressing and recovered that ball here in the second third, moving on to the final third. You see that they're not experts in the final third yet, so we need to go all the way back here, which kind of makes sense because there were no opportunities to attack in the final third before. So here, basically maintaining possession. You see there was an opportunity now to advance. They didn't recognize it. Just maintaining possession for the sake of maintaining possession and controlling the game. But you see that it's very possible to command the game and to have possession and to have fluidity in the first week, because again, this was achieved with just 3 training sessions, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But of course, you can invest time in video analysis during the first week, and this will help a lot because we'll make a better image of what you want in the minds of your players. Now again, starting from our own box, starting from the left now, you see all the players open their arms, saying to each other, calm, patience. You can see patience here. Now we're just attracting the opponent. The opponent, you see, is under control. They cannot press. If they press, they know that we're going to break that pressure. Now they try to press, and look what happens. We break the press. So look at how much fluidity you can achieve in just 1 week of training. There's no excuses. You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. It's just effort, dedication, knowing what to do, having a clear idea of what you want to develop and how to develop it, and invest the time on it and talk to your players over and over again and correct the important things. Again, here we're starting from our own box through the left. There's no space for circulation here, but look at how we solve this first third, solve the second third here, and move on to the opponent's box that quickly. I didn't actually train that in the first week, but again, this is the knowledge that they get from solving the first third. They get that knowledge and move that knowledge on to the other thirds of the field, and they have knowledge on how to solve them. They're not expert yet, but they know how to solve them sometimes. This again, we're trying to solve here the transition from the first third to the second third. And then we move all the way to the left. Now you're going to see our circulation to the right, getting into the middle. You see we have the option of the side back, and we have the option of the midfielder to go all the way to the right. So this time we chose the midfielder, then the side back, and then we get into the middle again so we can get to the other side. Every time you go into the middle, go back and go to the other side, you have more space. As you can see right now, my left side back has more space because my midfielder came down to receive in the middle and attract an opponent towards the middle. Again, we use circulation here. Now in the final third, this was just them bringing the knowledge from the first third to the final third. I didn't have much time to develop that. And again, the ability to maintain possession and maintain the opponents away from the ball. This is what you're seeing here. Look at that. Always maintain the opponents far away from the ball until you can enter again in their vulnerable zones. This other play, we start again from our box, and look at how we solve this 2v1 here very calmly. Lots of patience. Look at that patience. No way to advance. Come back again, offer another 2v1, and then third man, and we are out of the first third of the field, going towards the second third. Now you can see here that they didn't know how to accelerate this game. It was a good opportunity to go forward, to move forward quickly. They didn't. So now we bring ourselves to the second third here, and then we lose possession because we delayed the play too much. These things will happen and you need to recognize this, but then you can use the video analysis from the first week and the first match to improve these things for the second week. Again here, starting in the first third, moving all the way to the left. dribbling forward, taking space forward, always attack free spaces, and then using full width in the final third here to get as close to the goal as possible. Again, this was a transference of knowledge from them, from the first third to the final third, and the same 2v1 that you saw inside of our box now being used in the second third to solve that problem here. So you can see clearly that they get the knowledge, they transfer the knowledge from one situation to the other if you help them do it, and they can do it very well. So you don't need to invest your time in everything in the first week, just the important things that can be transferred to other areas of the field and of the game and allow you to solve the most problems as possible in the first game. If you think this video was useful to you, or if you learned something from this video and you liked it, please like it here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and check the other videos we have. I have an entire course for you, a free course that will teach you how to lead a training session from 0 to 10. So make sure you check that out. I'll leave the link here on the upper screen. Share this with other coaches that you think it might be useful to them. Check our other social media, Facebook, Instagram, lots of content there for soccer coaches, players, and aficionados too. And I'll see you in the next video.